Are you preparing for the CompTIA A Plus Core 1 certification and want to make sure you pass on your first try? You are in the right place. In this video, we will go through 60 real-style practice exam questions with clear explanation that will help you understand the concepts behind every answer, not just memorizing them. Whether you are brushing up for exam day or testing your knowledge, stay tuned till the end. So grab your notes, stay focused, and let's dive right into the question number 1. Question number 1. Which of the following is an advantage of using a hybrid cloud instead of a public cloud? So a hybrid cloud is a combination of a public and a private cloud. And the options are option A, ability to meet data residency requirements. Option B, ability to leverage infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, cloud service models. Option C, ability to reduce management overhead. And option D, ability to use cross-platform virtualization. So the correct option is, so I will display the correct option after this countdown. And the correct option is option A, ability to meet data residency requirements. And the explanation for this correct option as well as the incorrect option is, so a hybrid cloud combines the private and public cloud environments, allowing sensitive or regulated data to stay on premises, that is private, while leveraging the scalability of the public cloud. This helps organizations meet data residency and compliance requirements. So the other options, the incorrect options are leverage IaaS and PaaS, that is infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. So this is possible in public cloud as well. It is not unique to the hybrid model. Reduce management overhead. So public cloud reduces overhead more than the hybrid cloud, since hybrid still requires managing the private part. The third incorrect option is the cross-platform virtualization. So it is not a primary advantage of the hybrid cloud. Therefore, the main benefit of hybrid cloud over the public cloud is compliance with data residency requirements. Question number 2. A network administrator needs to ensure that a network printer always receives the same IP address from the DHCP server, even if the pool of available IP addresses becomes exhausted. Which of the following network configuration methods should the administrator use? And the options are option A, exclusion, option B, reservation, option C, lease, and option D, VLAN. And the correct option is option B, reservation. And the explanation is, so the correct answer is reservation, and the explanation is, so a DHCP reservation ensures that a specific device such as a network printer always receives the same IP address based on its MAC address, even if the DHCP address pool runs out. On the other hand, the incorrect options are the exclusion prevents certain IP addresses from being assigned. So this is different from reservation. Lease means it defines how long a device can use an IP address before renewal, but does not guarantee the same IP address every time. And VLAN separates network traffic logically, not related to assigning fixed IP addresses. So therefore, the administrator should configure a reservation which ensures that a specific device always gets the same IP address based on its MAC address. Question number 3, and a technician is troubleshooting a desktop PC that is connected to an uninterruptible power supply, that is UPS. The user reports that after every power outage, the system date and time resets. Which two of the following actions should the technician take to resolve the issue? Choose two options, and the options are: option A, install a surge protector. Option B, disable NTP, that is Network Time Protocol, in the operating system. Option C, repair the backup power source. Option D, swap out the RAM. Option E, replace the CMOS battery. And option F, run a BIOS update. And the correct options are option E, replace the CMOS battery, and option F, run a BIOS update. And the explanation is, so the correct options are replace the CMOS battery. So the most common cause of daytime resetting after power loss is a dead CMOS battery which stores BIOS settings including the system log. Run a BIOS update. So a corrupted or outdated BIOS can also cause system time issues. Updating ensures stable clock management. So why not the other options? Install a surge protector. So it protects from power surges but does not fix daytime reset. Disable NTP in the OS. So it would make the issue worse since NTP, that is Network Time Protocol, keeps time synced. Repair the backup power source. So the UPS only keeps system running temporarily. It does not maintain BIOS or CMOS time. And swap out the RAM. So RAM has nothing to do with the system time storage. So the technician should replace the CMOS battery and if needed, update the BIOS. Question number 4. A technician is troubleshooting an all-in-one laser printer that prints a vertical line only when making copies or scans. However, print jobs and faxes come out perfectly fine. Which of the following should the technician examine to determine the cause of the issue? And the options are option A, the corona wire, option B, the drum assembly, option C, the document feeder, and option D, the pickup rollers. And the correct option is, so think about the correct option, and it is option C, the document feeder. And the explanation is, so the correct option is document feeder. So the issue happens only when copying, scanning, not when printing. So a dirty spot or line on scanner glass or document feeder will show up as a vertical line in scans and copies, but won't affect regular print jobs or faxes. Incorrect options: the corona wire. This changes the paper during printing. If it were dirty or faulty, all print jobs, including normal prints and faxes, would show defects, not just copies. The drum assembly is responsible for transferring toner to the paper. Issues here would affect all output, not just scanned and copied documents. The pickup roller, so these feed paper into the printer. A problem here would cause paper jams or feeding issues, not a vertical line on copies. Question number 5. A customer reports that their tablet was recently dropped on the ground. There is a small crack in one corner of the display and the device does not charge when plugged in. What should the technician do first to begin troubleshooting? And the options are option A, perform a hard restart. Option B, run diagnostics on the digitizer. Option C, replace the battery. And option D, inspect the USB port for damage. And the correct option is option D, inspect the USB-C port for damage. And the explanation is, so the correct option was inspect the USB-C port for damage. So since the main symptom is that the tablet does not charge, the first logical step is to check the charging port for physical damage caused by the drop. If the port is bent, loose, or obstructed, the device won't charge even if the display still works. Always start with the most obvious physical issue before moving into deeper troubleshooting. Incorrect options: perform a hard reset. So a restart may help if the issue was software related, like the device freezing, but here the main problem is hardware charging failure after a drop. Run diagnostics on the digitizer. So the digitizer controls touch input. A small crack might affect touch later, but the customer's complaint is about charging, not touch screen response. Replace the battery. So replacing the battery is expensive and unnecessary without confirming the cause. The problem could simply be charging port, not the battery itself. Question number 6. Which of the following servers is used to collect data and information about the events from network connected hosts? And the options are option A, syslog, option B, print, option C, mail, and option D, DNS. And the correct option is option A, syslog. And the explanation is, so syslog is a centralized logging server that collects and stores event messages from network connected devices such as routers, switches, firewalls, servers, etc. It's widely used for monitoring, troubleshooting, and security auditing. Incorrect options include print server. So print server manages and queues print jobs for printer but does not collect event data from hosts. Mail server handles sending, receiving, and storing emails such as SMTP, IMAP, and POP3 but not event logs. While the DNS server resolves domain names to IP addresses, it is not meant for logging host events. So the server used to collect data about events from host is syslog server. Question number 7. A technician is setting up a network and is deciding between using IPv4 and IPv6. Which of the following is an advantage of using IPv6 over IPv4? And the options are option A, IPv6 requires manual IP configuration. Option B, IPv6 is only used in private networks. Option C, IPv6 offers a larger address space. And option D, IPv6 uses MAC addresses instead of IP addresses. And the correct option is option C, IPv6 offers a larger address space. So remember, IPv4 is a 32-bit, while IPv6 is 1 to 8-bit. So this means that IPv4 has 2 to the power 32 addresses, while IPv6 is 2 to the power 1 to 8, which is way larger than IPv4. And the explanation is, so IPv6 provides 1 to 8-bit addresses compared to IPv4 32-bit addresses, which means it supports an enormous number of unique IP addresses, about 3.4 10 raised to the power 38, solving the issue of IPv4 address exhaustion. Incorrect option. So IPv4 v6 requires manual configuration. It is wrong. IPv6 actually supports auto configuration known as SLAAC, reducing the need for manual configuration. So remember guys, if you want to learn all these terminology in detail, you should check out my complete course on this CompTIA A Plus Core 1 as well as Core 2. The second incorrect option is IPv6 is only used in private networks. So it is again wrong. IPv6 is used in both public and private networks worldwide. And the third incorrect option is that IPv6 uses MAC addresses instead of IP addresses. It is again wrong. IPv6 still uses IP addresses. However, it can generate interface identifiers from MAC addresses in some cases, but that does not replace IP addressing. So the main advantage of using IPv6 is the vastly larger address space. Question number 8. A user is having issue when charging a device with a lightning cable. The cable is not recognized when it is plugged into the device. This issue is usually resolved by flipping the cable over. This issue does not occur with other devices of the same type. Which of the following would most likely cause the issue? And the options are: option A, the cable is failing and needs to be replaced. Option B, the charging port is dirty or damaged. Option C, the device needs to be restarted. And option D, the battery may be swelling and needs inspection. And the correct option is option B, the charging port is dirty or damaged. So the correct option is that the charging port is dirty or damaged. And the explanation is the lightning cable are designed to be reversible. So if the cable only works when flipped one way, it often points to a dirty, bent, or damaged charging port on the device. Dust, lint, or worn contact inside the port can prevent proper connection. Incorrect options include the cable is failing and need to be replaced. If the cable were bad, the issue would usually appear on all devices, not just one. The device needs to be restarted. Restarting won't affect the physical connection issue of the charging port. And the battery may be swelling and needs inspection. So while swelling batteries can cause charging issues, they usually show physical signs such as case bulging and screen lifting, not a cable orientation problem. So since the problem is specific to one device and depends on cable orientation, the most likely cause is a dirty or damaged charging port. Question number 9. While using a computer, a user reports that the system fan begins running loudly and the display starts to distort. Which of the following is most likely occurring? And the options are: option A, crashing applications; option B, overclocking CPU; option C, overheating; and option D, sluggish performance. And the correct option is option C, overheating. And the explanation is, so the correct option is overheating. And the explanation is, a loud system fan means the cooling system is working harder than normal. Display distortion can occur when the GPU or CPU overheats, causing graphical glitches or instability. Together, these symptoms strongly indicate overheating. Incorrect options. So the crashing application may happen as the side effect of overheating but does not directly explain the loud fan and display distortion. Overclocking CPU can lead to overheating, but the question does not state the system is overclocked. And sluggish performance could be a symptom of overheating, but by itself does not explain the loud fan and distorted display. So the most likely issue is overheating. Question number 10. A technician is installing Ethernet network cables above a drop ceiling in an office building. The ceiling space is part of the building's shared air circulation system. Which of the following cable types should the technician use in this situation? The options are option A, shielded twisted, option B, optical, option C, plenum rated, and option D, coaxial. And the correct option is option C, plenum rated. And the explanation is, so plenum rated cable is designed with a special fire retardant jacket that produces less smoke and toxic flames if it catches fire. Building codes require plenum rated cables in air circulation spaces like drop ceilings and raised floor used for HVAC, that is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Incorrect option, shielded twisted helps reduce electromagnetic interference, but it does not meet fire safety requirements for air handling spaces. Optical fiber or fiber optic cable can be used for networking, but unless it is plenum rated fiber, it still won't meet building code requirements for plenum spaces. And coaxial is an older type of cabling not commonly used for Ethernet and does not address the fire safety requirement. So since the cables are being run in a shared air circulation space, the technician must use plenum rated cable. Question number 11. A technician needs to select PC components with a minimal number of visible internal cables. Which of the following should the technician use? And the options are option A, liquid cooling, option B, SATA drive connections, option C, wireless network interface card, and option D, modular power supply. Correct option is option D, modular power supply, and the explanation is, so a modular power supply lets the technician connect only the power cables that are needed for the build. This reduces cable clutter, improves airflow, and results in a cleaner build with fewer visible cables. Incorrect options include the liquid cooling. So liquid cooling helps with cooling efficiency and aesthetics, but does not reduce the number of power or data cables inside the PC. SATA drive connections still require visible cables for both power and data, so they don't minimize cable visibility. Wireless network interface card eliminates the need for an Ethernet cable, but it does not affect the internal cabling inside the PC. So to achieve minimum visible internal cable, the technician should use a modular power supply. Question number 12. A user reports that their laptop screen is showing vertical lines in various colors. Which hardware component is the technician most likely to replace to fix this problem? And the options are option A, liquid crystal display, option B, low voltage differential signaling or LVDS cable, option C, inverter, and option D, motherboard. And the correct option is option A, liquid crystal display or LCD. So vertical colored lines on a laptop screen usually indicate that the LCD panel itself is failing. This is a common symptom of a dead or stuck columns of pixels or internal damage to the screen. Incorrect options, low voltage differential signaling cable. So a loose or damaged display cable can cause flickering, no display or distortion, but usually not consistent vertical colored lines across the screen. Inverter. So inverter is used in old CCFL backlit display to power the backlit. If faulty, the screen would go dim or black, not show colored lines. Motherboard, so a failing GPU or motherboard can cause video issues, but those usually appear on both the internal and external displays. If the lines only appear on the laptop screen, it's not the motherboard. So since the problem is vertical colored lines limited to the laptop display, the technician would most likely replace the LCD panel. Question number 13. A technician is troubleshooting a degraded RAID 1 array. After confirming that the RAM and power supply are working correctly, what should the technician do next to further isolate the issue? And the options are: option A, rebuild the RAID array. Option B, run the check disk/I command. Option C, perform individual drive diagnostics. And option D, reconfigure the array as RAID 0. And the correct option is option C, perform individual drive diagnostics. And the explanation is, so the correct option was perform individual drive diagnostics. So in a RAID 1 array that is mirroring, data is written to two drives for redundancy. If the array is degraded, it usually means one of the drives has failed or is failing. After ruling out RAM and power supply issues, the next step is to test each drive individually to identify the faulty one before replacing or rebuilding. Incorrect option, rebuild the RAID array. It should only be done after identifying and replacing the bad drive, otherwise the rebuild may fail. Run the check disk/I command. So this command checks file system integrity, not the health of drives in a RAID array. Reconfigure the array as RAID 0. So RAID 0 provides no redundancy and would destroy data. It's not a troubleshooting step. So the best next step is to perform individual drive diagnostics to isolate failing disks. Question number 14. A technician receives a tablet with a bulging screen which appears to be pushed outward from the backplate. The device still powers on when plugged in, but the screen looks damaged and turns off when unplugged. What is the most likely cause of the issue? And the options are: option A, deprecated battery. Option B, malfunctioning power supply. Option C, broken screen. And option D, damaged charge port. And the correct option is option A, deprecated battery. And the explanation is, so correct option was deprecated battery. So a bulging screen that looks pushed outward is a classic sign of a swollen, failing or expired lithium battery. Swelling occurs as the battery ages or malfunctions, producing gas buildup inside the battery pack. This can push against the screen, causing distortion, damage, or even safety hazards. Incorrect option, malfunctioning power supply would affect charging but would not cause the screen to bulge outward. Broken screen is a damaged screen may cause display issue but would not physically bulge from the inside. Damaged charge port would prevent charging but it would not cause swelling or screen distortion. So the most likely cause is a deprecated or swollen battery which should be replaced immediately due to safety risks. Question number 15 and the last question in this video or this part of the video is that an administrator notices that a RAID 5 array is making clicking noises and they have identified the likely cause of the issue. What should the administrator do next? The options are option A, review the logs to verify the theory. Option B, document the findings and outcomes. Option C, replace the failing drive. And option D, perform a full data backup. And the correct option is option D, perform a full data backup. And the explanation is, so the correct option is perform a full data backup. And the explanation is, in RAID 5, data and parity are striped against multiple drives. If one drive starts failing, for example, making clicking noises, the array is at risk. If another drive fails during troubleshooting, all data could be lost. Therefore, the first priority is to perform a full data backup before replacing drives or rebuilding the array. Incorrect options, review logs to verify the theory. So this is helpful, but with clear clicking noises, which is a strong sign of imminent drive failure, delaying backup could risk total data loss. Document the findings and outcomes. So documentation is important, but should come after securing the data. And replace the failing drive. It should be done, but only after backup is complete to avoid data loss during the rebuild. So the next step is to perform a full data backup to secure the data before attempting repairs. Question number 16. An end user's domain password expires while they are working from home. The end user tries to reset the password using Ctrl plus Alt plus Delete and then receives the following message. Configuration information could not be read from the domain controller either because the machine is unavailable or because access is denied. Which of the following will resolve the issue? And the options are option A, restart the computer. Option B, reset the account in the Active Directory. Option C, connect to the VPN. And option D, join the Wi-Fi network. And the correct option is, so the correct option will be displayed after the countdown, and it is option C, connect to the VPN. So why this is the correct option and others are incorrect? So the explanation is, our correct option is connect to the VPN. So when a user is working remotely, their password reset request must reach the domain controller. If they are not connected to the corporate VPN, the reset fails because the system cannot communicate with the domain controller. Once connected to the VPN, the user can reset the password and synchronize it with the Active Directory. Incorrect options. Restart the computer does not fix the lack of connectivity to the domain controller. Reset the account in Active Directory, so the admin could reset the password, but the user still won't be able to log in until the machine syncs with the domain controller. Again, requiring the VPN or local connection so that the user can connect with the domain controller. And join the Wi-Fi network only helps if it's the corporate network. If the user is remote, Wi-Fi alone won't connect them to the domain. So the issue is caused by the computer being unable to reach the domain controller. So the solution is to connect to the VPN. Question number 17. A technician is troubleshooting a laptop with a wireless network interface called NIC and perform these three tests. And the tests are: ping the default gateway, ping the local host 127.0.0.1, also known as the loopback IP address, and trace to the IP address of the default gateway. Which of the following can the technician determine from these tests? we have to select two options, and the options are option A, MAC address of the wireless network interface card, option B, firewall status, option C, subnet mask of the network, option D, DNS fix, option E, wireless signal strength, and option F, connection latency. So think about the correct options. I will start the countdown. And the correct options are option B, the firewall status, and option F, connection latency. So why these two are the correct options? Let's go to the explanation. So let me first explain the test that the technician performed. First one is to ping the default gateway. So this test confirms connectivity to the local router and measures the latency, that is round trip time from his computer to the local router. Test number 2 is ping of the local host, that is his or her own computer. This confirms the network interface card TCP IP stack is working but does not give subnet mask, MAC address, or wireless signal strength. And test number 3 is trace RT or trace route to the default gateway. So this test shows the path, packet stack, and latency at each hop, which helps check connection latency and whether something like a firewall is blocking the traffic. So why these options are incorrect? So using these tests, we can check the latency, which was the correct option. We can know the latency from the ping command. It shows the round trip time, and also the firewall status. When we trace RT or trace route to the default gateway, and if some packets are dropped, then we can know that the firewall is blocking something, so we can know the status. We know the status of firewall from this trace route command. So the incorrect options are MAC address of the wireless network interface card cannot be obtained from ping or trace route. Command like ipconfig/all or get MAC are needed to get the MAC address. Subnet mask of the network requires checking network configuration, that is using ipconfig command, not the ping or trace route command. DNS suffix. So this comes from DHCP or manually configured, not revealed by these tests. And wireless signal strength is determined by Wi-Fi utilities, not through ping or trace route commands. So from these tests, the technician can determine the firewall status. If ping or trace route command fails due to blocking, it means the firewall is active, and the connection latency, which is measured in milliseconds through the ping command. Let's move forward to the question number 18. A company needs to print multiple copies of a multi-page document while using the least amount of resources available or possible. Which of the following printer settings will best help achieve this? And the options are, let me show the options. So the options are option A, quality, option B, orientation, option C, duplex, and option D, tray settings. And the correct option is option C, duplex. And the explanation is, let me get back. Sorry guys, we don't have explanation for this question. So let's move forward to question number 19. So an SaaS raid or a SaaS raid has become severely degraded and gone offline. A system administrator checks the syslog, but the exact failure point is unclear. Which two techniques should the administrator use to help identify the issue? And the options are: option A, check the historical smart data. Option B, check the operating system logs. Option C, run a magnet over each drive. Option D, update the RAID controller firmware. And option E, listen for clicking and grinding noises. And the correct options are: option A, check the historical smart data, and option E, listen for clicking and grinding noises. And the explanation is, so the correct options are, the explanation for the correct options are, so the smart data, SMART stands for self-monitoring, analysis and reporting technology, provide detailed health information about drive such as bad sectors, reallocated blocks, or high error rates, which can help pinpoint failing disks. Clicking and grinding noises are strong physical indicators of mechanical drive failure and help identify which drives are faulty. So the incorrect options: check the operating system logs, can provide general failure information, but in this case, the syslog already did not show the exact failure point, so it won't add much value. Run a magnetic over each drive. It is destructive and not a diagnostic technique. It would erase data, not help. So the magnetic hard disk drive can be formatted, or you can say the data or these drive can be destroyed by exposing these drive to the strong magnets. And the next incorrect option is update the RAID firmware controller. So it is useful for stability but not a way to identify the immediate failing component. So the administrator should rely on smart data and physical signs, that is NICE, to identify the faulty drive in the SAS RAID array or SAS RAID array. Question number 20. Which of the following cloud models exclusively utilizes a local data center? And the options are: option A, community cloud, option B, public cloud, option C, hybrid cloud, and option D, private cloud. And the correct option is, so local data center means that the data center is inside the organization, you can say on premises, and this type of cloud is basically known as private cloud. Unlike other cloud models such as AWS or Azure or Google Cloud that provide public cloud services. So the organization can create their own private cloud by deploying the data center locally for their sensitive and private data. So the explanation is, a private cloud is dedicated to a single organization and can be hosted on premises in a local data center, or also by a third party provider, but it is not shared with other organizations. It provides more control, customization, and security compared to public or hybrid models. So the incorrect options are: the community cloud is shared by multiple organizations with common needs, for example, healthcare and government. What does this mean? That let's suppose multiple healthcare provider, or you can say let's suppose hospital, can create their own cloud and shared, since they share similar interest or similar requirements, so they can create their own cloud which can be then used and shared among multiple health providers, and this type of cloud is known as community cloud. Similarly, for government organizations, Public cloud is hosted by third-party providers such as AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and is shared by many customers. So this is the cloud that is almost shared by thousands and millions of users and organizations. While the hybrid cloud basically combines both public and private cloud environment. So an organization can take some services from the public clouds, and they can also have their own private cloud where they host their most sensitive and secretive data. So the cloud model that exclusively uses a local data center is the private cloud. Question number 21. Which of the following is primarily used for archiving large volumes of data? The options are option A, LAN, that is local area network. Option B, MAN, that is metropolitan area network. Option C, SAN, that is storage area network. Option D, PAN, that is personal area network. And option E, WAN, that is wired area network. And the correct option is, we are talking about storing or archiving large volume of data, and for this we can use storage area network. All these other are basically network types, while the SAN is specifically used for storing large collection of data. It is a centralized storage network connected through high-speed optical fiber cables. The explanation is a storage area network is designed specifically for high-speed, large-scale storage solutions. It is commonly used for archiving, backups, and handling large volumes of data in enterprise environments. Incorrect options are LAN, local area network, which is basically used for local connectivity between devices, and it is not specialized for storage of large volume of data. MAN, that is metropolitan area network, basically connects networks across a city or region, and it is not for data archiving. PAN is personal area network. It is a very short range network, such as the Bluetooth connectivity or Bluetooth network is a PAN, and it is unsuitable for large data storage, while WAN, wide area network, connects network across long distances, but it is not optimized for archiving data. So the network type primarily used for archiving large volumes of data is a SAN, that is storage area network. Question number 22. Which of the following best characterizes the use of a virtual machine as a sandbox? And the options are option A, migrate a currently used legacy application from physical to virtual. Option B, run an application on multiple workstations without installation. Option C, create a firewall where the sandbox acts as a perimeter network. Option D, explore how an application behaves in a different environment. And the correct option is, so the correct option is option D, sandbox can be used to explore how an application behaves in a different environment. And the explanation is, so a sandbox is an isolated environment often created using a virtual machine where applications can be tested safely without impacting the host system. It is commonly used for malware analysis, software testing, or experimenting with unknown applications. So the incorrect options are migrate a currently used legacy application from physical to virtual. That describes physical to virtual migration, not sandboxing. Run an application on multiple workstations without installation. That is more related to application virtualization, not sandboxing. And create a firewall where the sandbox acts as a perimeter network. So that describes a DMZ or demilitarized zone, not a sandbox. So using a virtual machine as a sandbox is best characterized as exploring how an application behaves in a different or isolated environment. Question number 23. A technician needs to configure a firewall to enable network printing. Which of the following network ports should be opened? So we are talking about printing ports, that which ports are used by print server or when we use printing over the network, and the options are option A LPT1, option B 3389, option C 631, option D 25, option E 515, and option F 23. And the correct options are so the correct options are option C 631 and option E 515. So these are the two ports used for printing. So this one is the, I think, port used by Active Directory. We will see this in explanation. This port is used by SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and this is the port used by Telnet for remote management and configuration of basically network devices, but it is unsecure, and most often we use SSH, which uses port 22. So let's go to the explanation. So the port 631, that is IPP Internet Printing Protocol, is commonly used for network printing over IP. Remember 631, and then the port 515, that is LPD or LPR, stands for Line Printer Daemon Protocol. So it is traditional printing service port for network printers. So the incorrect options are LPT1 is not a network port. It is a legacy parallel printer port on older PCs. 3389 is remote desktop protocol. So it is RDP port, not related to printing. And 25 is simple mail transfer protocol or SMTP protocol. SMTP 25 is used by SMTP protocol for email, and 23 is used by Telnet, which is insecure remote access protocol, and its secure version is SSH. So to enable network printing, the technician should open ports 631 and 515. Let's move on to question number 24. So which of the following protocols can be used to securely access a remote network to troubleshoot various devices? The options are option A TFTP, option B SSH, option C RDP, option D FTP. So remember, we talked about remote troubleshooting configuration or management of devices and the secure management. Which protocol is used for secure management and configuration of devices remotely? Right, it is option B SSH, and the explanation is so SSH secure shell provides encrypted secure remote access to network devices like routers, switches, and servers for management and troubleshooting. Incorrect options such as TFTP, that is Trivial File Transfer Protocol, is used for quick file transfers like firmware, but it's not secure and is not used for remote access. RDP, that is Remote Desktop Protocol, provides graphical remote access to Windows systems, but not typically for troubleshooting network devices. And FTP, File Transfer Protocol, transfers files but is insecure unless paired with encryption, that is secure version of FTP or FTPS or SFTP. So the best protocol to securely troubleshoot network devices remotely is SSH. Question number 25. Employees are concerned about sensitive data being printed on a shared multifunction printer located in a high traffic hallway. Which of the following should a technician do to address this concern? And the options are option A, schedule print jobs to be released at certain times. Option B, relocate the printer to an unused office space. Option C, set up a PIN for user authentication at the printer. And option D, configure printing of sensitive data through a specific tray. And the correct option is option C, set up a PIN for user authentication at the printer. And the explanation is, so this is our correct option, set up a PIN for user authentication at the printer. So configuring a secure print release, that is PIN or badge authentication, ensure that sensitive documents are only printed when authorized user is physically present at the device. So this prevents others from accidentally or intentionally viewing confidential information. Incorrect options are schedule print jobs to be released at certain times. So this does not prevent unauthorized access to documents sitting in the tray. Relocate the printer to an unused office space. So this may help, but it's not always practical and does not guarantee security. And configure printing of sensitive data through a specific tray does not prevent unauthorized users from picking up documents. So the most effective solution is to require PIN/user authentication at the printer before printing sensitive data. Question number 26. A technician is selecting a power supply for a new computer. There will be a large number of connected devices that must be powered by the USB. Which of the following specifications should the technician prioritize? And the options are option A, energy efficiency. Option B, modular connector count. Option C, 5 volt amperage. And option D, 20 plus 4 power connector. And the correct option is option C, 5 volt amperage. And the explanation is, so this is our correct option. So the USB ports draw power from the 5-volt rail of the power supply. If a computer will have many USB powered devices, the technician should prioritize a power supply unit with a sufficient 5-volt amperage to support the load without instability. Incorrect options: energy efficiency is important for overall power consumption, but it does not specifically address powering many USB devices. Modular connector count helps reduce cable clutter, but it does not affect available 5-volt power for the USB. And 20 plus power connector is standard motherboard connector. Almost all power supply units have this, and it's not related to USB power. So the technician should prioritize 5-volt amperage rating to ensure stable power delivery for all USB devices. Question number 27. When a user touches or swipes across an external touch screen, the image flickers but no input is registered on the presentation laptop. A technician verifies that the external touch screen appears free from physical damage. Which of the following should the technician do next? And the options are option A, verify the correct input source is set on the laptop. Option B, inspect the LCD touch panel for dead pixels or burning. Option C, replace the laptop with a new device that is known to work. Option D, reboot the LCD touch panel and laptop. And option E, check the cables connecting to the laptop. And the correct option is option E, check the cables connecting to the laptop. So remember, always start with the most basic and physical stuff. So the correct option is check the cable connecting to the laptop. Explanation is that an external touch screen typically requires two connections. Number one, video cable, that is HDMI or DisplayPort or VGA for the display signal, and USB cable are similar for the touch input signal. So if the image is flickering and no touch input is registered, the issue is most likely with one of these cables. They may be loose, damaged, or unplugged. Incorrect options: verify the correct input source is set at the laptop. If the image is already displayed, the input source is correct. Inspect the LCD touch panel for dead pixels or burning, so that affects display quality, not touch input. Replace laptop with a new device should it is too drastic without basic troubleshooting. First, and reboot the LCD touch panel and laptop. This might help in some cases, but flickering plus no input usually indicates a cabling issue. So the best next step is to check the cables connecting to the external touch screen to the laptop. Question number 28. A technician wants to monitor network statistics for devices communicating with one another on the local subnet. Which of the following devices should the technician install? And the options are option A, router, option B, managed switch, option C, access point, and option D, firewall. And the correct option is option B, managed switch. So why this is correct option? Let's go to the explanation. So the managed switch is the correct option. So a managed switch can monitor traffic between devices on the local subnet. It provides features like port mirroring, SNMP, and traffic statistics, allowing technicians to analyze network usage and troubleshoot performance issues. Incorrect options are router. So router basically routes traffic between different networks and subnets, not primarily for monitoring devices on the same subnet. Access point provides wireless connectivity but does not give detailed wired subnet traffic statistics. And firewall monitors and controls traffic between networks, that is internal and external, but not specifically statistics for local subnet communication. So to monitor network statistics on the local subnet, the technician should install a managed switch. Question number 29. In which of the following cloud model is the customer not responsible for hardware and operating system layer but is responsible for the data as well as the application? And the options are option A, SaaS, that is software as a service, IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service, PaaS, that is platform as a service, and SaaS, I think it is code as a service. And the correct option is PaaS, that is platform as a service. So in SaaS, the user is only responsible for data. Application is managed and deployed by the cloud providers such as Office 365. It is already deployed, available. You should just input the data and care about the data. Infrastructure as a service, in this platform, user is responsible for most of the things such as the operating system, the VMs, the application, as well as the data. While the PaaS is in between these two. So here the user is responsible for the data as well as the application. User is required to develop as well as deploy the application. So the explanation is Platform as a service. In platform as a service, the cloud provider manages the hardware, networking, storage, and operating system layer, while the customer is responsible only for application and data they build and run on the platform. For example, Google App Engine, Microsoft Azure App Services. So the incorrect options are SaaS, that is software as a service. So the provider manages everything, that is hardware, OS, application, as well as data. The customer just uses the software such as Gmail and Salesforce. IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service. The provider manages only the hardware. The customer must manage the OS, application, and data. For example, AWS EC2 and Azure VMs. And CaaS, which is container as a service. So the provider manages infrastructure and container orchestration, but customers manage containers and applications. So the model where the customer only manages data and application while the provider manages hardware and operating system is platform as a service. Question number 30. A company is testing the latest model of a laptop. After turning on the laptop, there is a noticeable burning smell. Which of the following steps should a technician take to troubleshoot the laptop issue? We have to select two options, and the options are: option A, try an alternate AC adapter; option B, remove the device from the MDM, that is mobile device management, which is a centralized platform to manage the mobile devices such as laptops, smartphones. Option C, turn it off and disconnect all power sources. Option D, check for foreign objects such as liquid spills and internal damage. And option D, contact the vendor and submit a return request. And the correct options are option C, turn it off and disconnect all the power sources, and option D, check for foreign objects such as liquid spills, and internal damage. So the explanation is the correct options are turn it off and disconnect all power sources. Safety comes first. So a burning smell indicates possible electrical damage, overheating, or a short circuit. Immediate shutdown prevents fire or further damage. Check for foreign objects, liquid spill, and internal damage. So inspecting the laptop helps identify whether the smell is due to a spill, dust, debris, or a failed internal component. So the incorrect options are try an alternate AC adapter. So this is not safe. If burning smell is from inside the laptop, using another adapter would worsen the problem. Remove the device from the MDM. So the mobile device management has nothing to do with hardware or electrical issues. And contacting the vendor and submit a return request. So this may happen later if it's under warranty, but the immediate troubleshooting and safety steps come first. So the technician should shut it down, disconnect power, and inspect for physical electrical damage. So before considering replacement or escalation. Question number 31. A technician is experimenting with network configurations and has connected two laptops to an unmanaged switch. The technician configured one of the laptops with a static IP address of 192.168.1.1 and the other with a static IP address of 192.168.2.2. The laptops are not communicating with each other. Which of the following is the most likely explanation for this issue? And the options are option A, the wireless network interface cards are malfunctioning. Option B, PoE interferes with inter-subnet communication. Option C, the technician needs to use a hub instead of a switch. And option D, the laptops do not have access to a router. And the correct option is the laptops do not have access to a router. Remember, when we are trying to communicate between two different networks, as we can see that this network 1.1 is different from this network 2.2. Therefore, in order to communicate between these two different networks, we need a router between them. So, a simple switch or a managed switch cannot do routing. For this, we need a router or a layer 3 switch. So, a layer 3 switch can also do routing. But without a router or layer 3 switch, we cannot communicate between different subnets or different networks. So the explanation is the two laptops are on different subnets, that is 192.168.1.0/24 and 192.168.2.0/24. So an unmanaged switch only forwards traffic within the same broadcast domain. It cannot route between different IP subnets. So to allow communication between 192.168.1.x and 192.168.2.x, a router or a layer 3 switch is required to perform inter-subnet routing. So the incorrect options are the wireless network interface cards are malfunctioning. So this is not relevant. This is a wired switch issue and connectivity depends on IP and subnet configuration. PoE interferes with inter-subnet communication. So power over Ethernet provides power and it has nothing to do with routing function. And the technician needs to use a hub instead of a switch. So a hub works the same way as a switch at layer 2. It would not solve the inter-subnet routing problem. So the issue is that the laptops are in different subnets and need a router to communicate. Question number 32. Each time a user tries to print, the paper becomes stuck at the last stage of the print job and the user has to pull the paper out of the printer. Which of the following is the most likely cause? And the options are option A, tray assembly, option B, rollers, option C, print head, and option D, toner. And the correct option is option B, roller. And the explanation is, so the printer rely on rollers to grab, feed and eject paper. If the paper is consistently getting stuck at the last stage of the print job near the exit, it usually means exit rollers are worn out, dirty or misaligned. This prevents the page from being properly ejected, causing jams. So the incorrect options are tray assembly. So the problem here affect paper pickup at the start, not at the end. Print head. So this relates to printing quality issues, ink and toner placement, not paper jams. And the toner. So the toner affects image and print quality. That is, it results in faded prints or streaks, but not paper movement. So since the paper jams during the final ejection stage, the rollers are the most likely culprit. Question number 33. A developer needs to package applications with all their dependencies to ensure consistent deployment across different systems. Which technology should be used? The options are option A, virtual desktop infrastructure, option B, containers, option C, snapshot, and option D, disk imaging. And the correct option is option B, containers. And the explanation is, so containers, that is Docker and Podman, package an application together with all its dependencies, libraries, and configuration files into a single unit. This ensures the application runs consistently across different systems without worrying about operating system or environment differences. They are lightweight compared to full virtual machines and are widely used in DevOps and cloud deployments. So the incorrect options are virtual desktop infrastructure or VDI. So this provides remote desktops to users, not application packaging. Snapshot. So this saves the state of a virtual machine or system at a given point in time, but does not package applications for probability. And disk imaging. So this creates a full copy of a disk that is operating system plus application plus file, but it's bulky and not ideal for application level portability. So the developer should use containers to achieve consistent deployment. Question number 34. A graphics designer needs a monitor that offers improved backlit control and an extended range of colors. Which display feature meets this requirement? And the options are option A, CRT refresh rate, option B, OLED burn-in prevention, option C, mini LED with wide color gamut, and option D, VGA resolution. And the correct option is option C, mini LED with wide color gamut. And the explanation is, so the correct option are is mini LED with wide color gamut, and the explanation is, so mini LED with wide color gamut provides improved backlight control due to thousands of tiny LEDs that allow precise dimming and extended range of colors, which is ideal for graphic designers who need color accuracy and HDR performance. So the incorrect options are CRT refresh rate. It is an older technology and has no relevance to modern design work. OLED burn-in prevention addresses a display longevity issue, not color range or backlit precision. And VGA resolution is outdated analog resolution and resolution standard, not related to color quality or backlight control. So for graphic design, the best option is mini LED with wide color gamut because it delivers superior color accuracy, brightness control, and HDR performance. Question number 35. A user's device needs more memory, so a technician installs extra RAM with the following specifications. 2 into 8 GB DDR5 4800, that is PC5-38400, and 1 into 16 GB DDR5-5600 PC5 44800. Which of the following speeds would maximize reliability? The options are option A 4800, option B 38400, option C 44800, and option D 5600. And the correct option is option A 4800. And the explanation for this correct option is, so when RAM modules with different speeds are installed, the system will downclock all memory to the speed of the lowest module to ensure stability and reliability. So the installed RAMs include number 1, 2 into 8 GB DDR5-4800 and 1 into 16 GB DDR5 5600. So since DDR5 4800 is slower than DDR 5600, the memory will run at 4800 MT/second. So the incorrect options are 38400. So this is the bandwidth rating, that is megabyte per second of DDR5 4800, not the speed setting. 44800 is the bandwidth rating for DDR5 5600, not the actual operating chosen when mixing RAM. And 5600 the system cannot run at the higher speed because DDR5 4806 would become unstable. So to maximize reliability, the memory must operate at the slowest module's speed, that is 4800. Question number 36. Which of the following network services is used to assign an IP address to a network host? The options are option A, DNS, that is domain name system. Option B, SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol. Option C, LDAP, that is lightweight directory access protocol. And option D, DHCP, dynamic host configuration protocol. And the correct option is DHCP, that is dynamic host configuration protocol. So DHCP is used to dynamically assign IP address to the devices on the network. Explanation. So DHCP automatically assigns IP addresses, subnet masks, gateways, and DNS servers to network hosts. So the incorrect options are DNS, domain name system. So DNS resolves domain names, for example, google.com, into IP addresses but does not assign IPs. SMTP, that is simple mail transfer protocol, handles sending mails, not IP management. And LDAP, that is lightweight directory access protocol, is used for directory services, that is user authentication lookup, not IP address assignment. So DHCP is the service responsible for assigning IP addresses to devices on a network. Question number 37. A technician needs to provide a new employee with a phone number for their company mobile phone. Which of the following is the most cost effective and professional way to complete this task? And the options are option A, give a company mobile phone to the employee. Option B, forward a company number to the employee's mobile phone. Option C, issue a company eSIM to the employee. And option D, offer a company SIM card to the employee. And the correct option is option D, offer a company SIM card to the employee. And the explanation is, so offer a company SIM card to the employee is the most cost effective and professional, since the employee can insert it into their own or a company provided device. This gives them a dedicated business number without the added cost of providing a full device or managing number forwarding. So the incorrect options give a company mobile phone, professional but more expensive, extra hardware cost and maintenance, forward a company number to the employee's mobile phone. So this could work, but it mixes personal and business use, which can add extra cost and lag separation between personal and work numbers. And issue a company eSIM is a valid option but requires the employee's device to support eSIM. A physical SIM is generally more compatible and simple to manage. So the best balance of cost effectiveness and professionalism is provide a company SIM card. Question number 38. A user reports that files are taking hours to transfer from a device to an external USB drive. The technician confirms that the device's cables are connected and the correct USB port is being used. Which of the following steps should the technician take next when troubleshooting the issue? The options are so let me first go to the options. correct option was already underlined. So the options are replace the USB drive, option B, replace the device's USB port, option C, turn off all Bluetooth devices, and option D, update the device drivers. And the correct option is option D, update the device drivers. So let's go through the explanation. So updating the device drivers, so outdated or corrupt USB drivers can cause extremely slow transfer speeds even if the correct port and cables are being used. Updating them is the next logical troubleshooting step before replacing hardware. So the incorrect options are replace the USB drive. So it is possible if the drive is failing, but since it might be driver related, it's best to rule out software first. Replace the device's USB port. So a physical repair replacement is only considered if driver updates do not fix the issue and the port is confirmed faulty. And turn off all Bluetooth devices. So Bluetooth can cause wireless interference, but it does not impact wired USB transfer speeds. So best next step is update the USB drivers to see if performance improves before moving to hardware replacement. Question number 39. A technician is setting up a workstation to use FTP, that is File Transfer Protocol. Which of the following ports does the technician need to enable? So we are talking about logical port, that is layer 4 ports. The options are option A, port number 20, option 23, option C, 68, and option D, 53. And the correct option is option A, port 20. So remember, FTP uses port 20. In fact, it uses two ports, port 20 and 21. One port is used for the control channel through which commands are sent, and the other port is used for actual data transfer. So the other port 23 is the telnet port. 53 is the DNS port, and 68 is I think DHCP port. We will see it in the explanation. So let's go through the explanation. So port 20 is used by FTP, File Transfer Protocol, for data transfer. FTP also uses port 21 for control and command, but if the question only gives these options, port 20 is the correct one. So the incorrect options are port 23 is used for telenet, which is insecure, which is used for insecure remote login as well as management and configuration of hosts such as network devices. Port 68 is used by DHCP client, and port 53 is used for DNS, that is domain name system. So to enable FTP, you need port 20 for data and usually port 21 for the control. Question number 40. Which of the following could a user employ to maximize module bandwidth when selecting memory for a high-end gaming computer? And the options are option A, error correction, option B, channel configuration, option C, RAM, voltage, and option D, physical module. And the correct option is option B, channel configuration. Let's go through the explanation. So the channel configuration using dual channel, triple channel, or quad channel memory setups allows the CPU to access multiple memory modules simultaneously, maximizing memory bandwidth. This is specifically beneficial for high-end gaming computers. Incorrect option, error correction. So error correction improves reliability, that is detects and corrects error but it's not meant for gaming performance. It's typically used in servers and workstations. RAM voltage is adjusting the voltage. Adjusting voltage is for stability and overclocking, not directly for maximizing bandwidth. Physical module size refers to capacity, for example, 8 GB or 16 GB, which increases available memory but not bandwidth. So, for maximum performance in gaming PCs, ensuring the RAM is in correct channel configuration, that is, let's suppose, for example, dual channel is the key. Question number 41. An engineer is troubleshooting why a newly installed drive is missing in Windows 11. The engineer discovered the drive was formatted before going offline. Which of the following steps should the engineer take to resolve the issue? The options are: option A, remove any excess cables connected to the motherboard. Option B, enable low power mode on all the other connected devices. Option C, check if the drive was formatted to ext4. And option D, close any applications that are utilizing too many resources. And the correct option is option C, check if the drive was formatted to ext4. So the correct option is check if the drive was formatted to ext4. An explanation is Windows 11 does not natively recognize ext4 format, which is a Linux file system. If the new drive was formatted with ext4 before Windows 11 will not display it in the file explorer. The engineer needs to check the file system type and, if necessary, reformat it to NTFS or exFAT for compatibility. Incorrect options: remove any excess cables connected to the motherboard. So this is not related to the file system recognition. Enable low power mode on all other connected devices. So the power saving settings do not affect whether Windows can detect a drive's format. And close any application that are utilizing too many resources. So system performance issue do not cause a missing drive. So the most likely cause is the drive is formatted in ext4, which Windows cannot read because Windows 11 do not support this format. Question number 42. A user returns from a trip and discovers that their computer connected to the LAN, that is local area network, times out intermittently. Upon investigation, a technician finds the RJ45 connector is not properly terminated. Which of the following networking tools should the technician use to fix the issue? And the options are: option A, punch down tool; option B, toner probe; option C, cable tester; and option D, crimper. And the correct option is option D, crimper. So what is the crimper? So an RJ45 connector that is not properly terminated needs to be reattached or re-crimped onto the cable, and this is done through crimper tool. So a crimper tool is specifically designed to attach RJ45 connectors to Ethernet cables, ensuring a solid and reliable connection. So the incorrect options are punch down tool. So punch down tool is used for terminating cables into patch panels or keystone jacks, not RJ45 connectors. Toner probe is used to trace and identify cables in walls or bundles, not to fix termination. And cable tester is used for fixing to verify the connection, but it cannot repair or re-terminate the cable. Question number 43. A salesperson is unable to reach the internet from a home office PC. A support technician wants to verify that the router is receiving a valid public IP address. Which of the following is a valid public IP address in this scenario? The options are option A 10.254.128.11, option B 172.60.0.30, option C 192.168.1.50, and option D 66.157.195.20. And the correct option is, so we need to identify the public address, and it is in option D 66.157.195.20. So all these other are private IP addresses. So let's go through the explanation. So public IP addresses are routable on the internet, while private IP addresses are reserved for internal networks. So private IP address ranges that is not valid as public IP. So these are private IP address ranges. The first range is starting from 10, and you can also write this as 10/8 or 10.0.0.0/8. Next range is 172.16.00 up to 172.31.255.255. You can also write this as 172.16/12. And the next one is the popular one that we most often use in our home setups is 192.168.0.0 up to 192.168.255.255. You can also write this in this cider notation as /16. So the options were 10.254.128.11. So this is in this range. That's why it is the private IP address 172.16.0.30. Again, this one is in this range. So this is also a private IP address 192.168.1.50. Again, this one is in the last range. So this is again a private IP address. Only the 66.157.195.20 is a valid public IP address. So to check this, the technician would log into the router and look at the WAN or internet IP address. Question number 44. A technician needs to configure a multifunction printer that will be used to scan highly confidential data, which must be securely distributed only to select group of executives. Which of the following is the most secure way to accomplish this task? The options are option A, implement badge access on the printer. Option B, set up the device to email the documents to a group address. Option C, make copies of the documents and have an office administrator manually distribute them. And option D, configure scanning to an SMB share with executive only access. And the correct option is option D, configure scanning to an SMB share with executive only access. Let's go through the explanation. So SMB share with executive only access ensures documents are stored in a secure, access controlled location. Only the authorized executives can retrieve the files, protecting confidentiality. Incorrect options are implement badge access on the printer. So this controls who can use the printer but does not ensure secure distribution of scanned data. Set up the device to email the documents to a group address. So email is less secure. Messages could be interpreted or misdirected. Make copies of the documents and have an office administrator manually distribute them. So this adds unnecessary risk of human error and exposure of sensitive data. So the best solution is scan directly to a secured SMB share, so only the intended executive can access the confidential files. Question number 45. A help desk technician is installing an SSD upgrade in a laptop. The laptop specifications require NVMe. Which of the following form factor should the technician most likely install in the laptop? The options are option A 3.5 inch, option M2, option 2.5 inch, and option D SD. And the correct option is option B M.2. Let's go through the explanation. So the correct option was M.2. So NVMe, that is non-volatile memory express, is a protocol designed for high-speed storage and typically uses M.2 form factor in laptops. So M.2 NVMe SSDs plug directly into motherboard's M.2 slot, offering much faster speeds compared to the SATA SSDs. So the incorrect options are 3.5. This is a standard form factor for desktop hard disk drives, not laptops. 2.5 can house SATA SSDs or HDDs, but SATA is not NVMe. They use different interfaces, and SD refers to secure digital memory cards, not SSD, for primary laptop storage. So since the laptop specifically requires NVMe, the correct form factor is M.2 or M2. Question number 46. A technician has just installed a new SSD into a computer, but the drive is not appearing in the operating system. Which of the following is most likely reason? And the options are option A, the SSD is faulty and should be replaced by the manufacturer. Option B, the SSD has not been properly formatted and is not readable. Option C, the SSD is incompatible with the motherboard. And option D, the SSD has not been installed properly and should be reseated. The correct option is option B, the SSD has not been properly formatted and is not readable. So the correct option was the SSD has not been properly formatted and is not readable, and the explanation is so when a new SSD is installed, it often comes unformatted and without a partition table until it is formatted and partitioned, for example NTFS for Windows. The operating system will not display it in File Explorer, though it should appear in this management. The incorrect options are the SSD is faulty and should be replaced by the manufacturer. So it is possible but not the most likely cause right after installation. SSD is incompatible with the motherboard. It is unlikely if the form factor and interfaces such as SATA or NVMe M.2 match. And the SSD has not been installed properly and should be reseated. So improper seating usually means the drive won't show up at all in the BIOS, not just in the operating system. So the most likely reason is that the SSD needs to be formatted and partitioned before the OS can use it. Question number 47. A technician is troubleshooting a network issue. Users report that the connection keeps dropping and reconnecting every few seconds. The technician verifies the network configuration settings are correct on the workstation. tests the network cable from the workstation to the switch and finds no issue, and uses a known good workstation on the existing network cable and replicates the reported issue. Which of the following should the technician do next? In the options are option A, check the network logs for evidence of port flipping. Option B, add new network hardware to reduce congestion. Option C, assign a static IP to the impacted workstation. And option D, validate the environment for external interference. And the correct option is so the correct option was check the network logs for the evidence of port flipping. Option A was the correct option. So let's go through the explanation. So since the issue persists even with a known good workstation on the same cable, the problem is likely with the switch port or the upstream network device. Port flipping occurs when a switch port goes up and down repeatedly, causing intermittent connectivity for devices connected to it. Checking the switch logs can confirm this issue. So the incorrect options are add new network hardware to reduce congestion. So the problem is intermittent connection, not congestion. Assign a static IP to the impacted workstation. So IP addressing is not the issue, the network is dropping repeatedly. And validate the environment for external interference. So more relevant, this option is more relevant for wireless networks, not a wired connection that replicates the issue with another device. So the next step is review switch or router logs for port flipping or other errors on the affected port. Question number 48. Which of the following networking devices will most likely need to be installed between the internet service provider running DOCSIS, DOCSIS and the LAN in a SOHO environment? SOHO is small office, home office. And the options are option A, cable modem, option B, firewall, option C, switch, option D, access router, and option E, router. And the correct option is option E, router. And the explanation is so in a SOHO, that is small office, home office environment, the ISP running DOCSIS provides a public IP via the cable modem. So a router is needed to translate public IP to private IPs for devices on the LAN through NAT, that is network address translation. It is also needed to manage routing, DHCP and basic firewall functions. So this allows multiple devices on the LAN to share a single IP or single public IP address. The incorrect options are cable modem. So this is provided by the ISP to convert the DOCSIS signals. It connects upstream and is not installed between the ISP and LAN. Firewall could be integrated in a router, but alone won't perform NAT or routing. So remember, some modern firewall can also perform these functions such as netting, routing, as well as these DHCP and other firewalling functions. But for the academic perspective, we will stick to the router. So switch expands LAN ports but does not connect to the ISP or handle IP translation. And access point provides wireless connectivity only, no routing between WAN and LAN. So in a SOHO setup, the router sits between the ISP via the modem and the LAN to manage IP addressing, routing, as well as security. Question number 49. A technician is upgrading the Wi-Fi card on a laptop. Which of the following should the technician do first? The options are option A, disconnect the Wi-Fi antenna cables. Option B, set the physical Wi-Fi switch to disabled. Option C, remove the power cable. And option D, installed card driver. The correct option is option C, remove the power cable. And the explanation is so safety first. Before working inside a laptop, the technician must disconnect all power sources, that is battery and AC power, to prevent electrical shock or short circuiting components. So the incorrect options are disconnect the Wi-Fi antenna cables. So this is part of the upgrade process, but it comes after powering down the device. Set the physical Wi-Fi switch to disabled. So some laptops have a wireless kill switch, but it does not replace the need to remove power. And install card driver. So drivers are installed after the hardware upgrade is complete and the laptop is powered back on. So first step in any internal laptop upgrade is remove power cable and battery if possible to ensure safety. Question number 50. A customer uses a previously configured smartphone to interact with a payment terminal to purchase an item. Which of the following technologies is the smartphone using? The options are option A, RFID, radio frequency identification, option B, NFC, that is near field communication, option C, 802.11, which is the Wi-Fi standard, and option D, Bluetooth. And the correct option is option B, NFC. And the explanation is, so correct option is NFC, near field communication. So NFC allows smartphones to communicate with payment terminals by holding the device close to the terminal, usually a few centimeters. This technology is commonly used for contactless payments, for example, Apple Pay and Google Wallet. So the incorrect options are RFID. So RFID is used for identification and tracking, for example, access card, inventory tags, and not for secure smartphone payments. 802.11 refers to Wi-Fi, which is not used for close proximity payment interaction, and Bluetooth works over longer distances, often for pairing devices like speakers or headphones, not short-range contactless payments. So payment terminals rely on NFC to securely transmit payment data from a smartphone. Question number 51. A system administrator is tasked with deploying a lightweight application environment that can be launched quickly, requires minimal system resources, and runs consistently across both on-premises servers and cloud platforms. Which of the following technologies would best meet this requirement? And the options are option A, serverless functions, option B, hypervisor type 1, option C, hypervisor type 2, and option D, containers. And the correct option is option D, container. So containers meet these requirements, that they are lightweight and they can be launched very quickly, and they also require minimal system resources. as well as they can be used cross platforms such as on-premises servers as well as inside the cloud. So let's go to the explanation. So containers are lightweight, portable environments that package an application and all its dependencies, ensuring consistent performance across different platforms, whether on-premises or in the cloud. They require minimal system resources compared to virtual machines and can be launched quickly, making them ideal for such deployment scenario. So the other options, the incorrect options are the serverless functions. So they are good for event-driven workloads, but not for applications requiring consistent runtime environments across platforms. Similarly, hypervisor type 1 runs directly on the bare metal hardware, which is suitable for virtualization, but is not lightweight or quick to launch. And hypervisor type 2 runs on a host operating system, which is less efficient and is not designed for minimal resource use. So the correct option is container. Question number 52. A company is setting up a physical server to act as a virtualization host for several business critical applications. The IT manager wants a storage solution that balances speed with fault tolerance so the virtual machines can keep running even if a drive fails. Which of the following should the administrator implement? And the options are. So the options are option A, tape backup system, option B, eMMC storage module, option C, RAID 10 array, and option D, single SSD drive. And the correct option is option C, RAID 10 array. So RAID is basically used, and RAID stands for redundant array of independent disks. So we combine multiple disks in different combination and different strategies so that they both gives us redundancy, so that if one drive fails, the data still reside on the other drive, as well as they also gives us speed because data can be written and read from multiple drives simultaneously. So let's go to the explanation. So a RAID 10, that is 1 plus 0 array combines the benefits of RAID 0, which is striping, with the fault tolerance of RAID 1, that is mirroring. So the striping is basically data is divided across two disks, which gives us the performance because data can be simultaneously read and write to the two disks simultaneously, while the RAID 1 gives us mirroring, which is redundancy, which means that same data is written to two drive, and if one fails, the data is still available on the redundant drive. So this setup ensures that data is written and read quickly, that gives us improved performance, and the system can continue running even if one or more drives fails, which gives us high reliability. So the other options are the incorrect options. Tape backup system. So it is used for long-term data archiving, not for live virtualization storage. eMMC storage module is low-cost embedded storage found in mobile devices and is not suitable for server environments. And single SSD drive is fast but offers no redundancy. So single point of failure for critical application. If this drive fails, it means all your application will also fail to run. Question number 53. A marketing team is designing interactive product displays for a retail store. The plan is to attach NFC type 4 tags to the displays so customers can scan them with their smartphone to access digital brochures. The project manager asks how much data a single NFC type 4 tag can store. The options are option A 16 kilobyte, option B 1.4 MB, option C 32 KB, and option D 2.4 MB. And the correct option is, think about the correct option, and it is option C 32 KB. So NFC type 4 can store 32 KB of data. The NFC type 4 tags can typically store up to 32 KB of data. They support higher data transfer speed and more advanced features like encryption compared to lower NFC types, making them ideal for interactive applications such as digital brochures or smart posters. Other options were 16 KB is common for high-end type 3 tags, but not the maximum for type 4. And 1.4 MB slash 2.4 MB are too large for NFC tags. Such capacities are found in other storage technologies, not NFC. Question number 54. An organization is developing a set of modern IP-based surveillance cameras for security monitoring. These devices are expected to support common methods of connecting to the local network for continuous video streaming. Which two networking interfaces are most likely built into these cameras? And the options are option A, Bluetooth, option B, Wi-Fi, option C, RJ45 Ethernet, and option D, cellular. The correct options are, we have to choose two options. The first correct option is option B, Wi-Fi, and the second correct option is option C, RJ45 Ethernet. And the explanation is, so the modern IP-based surveillance cameras typically include RJ45 Ethernet port for wired network connection, providing stable, high bandwidth links for continuous video streaming and often power over Ethernet support. Wi-Fi is used for wireless connectivity, allowing flexible placement where cabling is difficult. So other options are explained here. Other options include the Bluetooth, which is used for short range pairing or configuration, not for continuous video streaming. So as we all know, Bluetooth data transfer is very slow and they cannot be used for video streaming. Cellular, that is LTE and 5G, it is possible in remote or mobile setups but uncommon in standard enterprise or building-based surveillance systems due to the cost and data limits. Question number 55. A company uses macOS computers, but some staff need to run a program that only works on Windows. What is the best way to run this Windows software as a macOS system without replacing the macOS? And the options are option A, OS spoofing, option B, dual boot setup, option C, remote application streaming, and option D, cross-platform virtualization. And the correct option is option D, cross-platform virtualization. And the explanation is, so cross-platform virtualization allows macOS user to run a Windows virtual machine using software like Parallels Desktop, VMware Fusion, or VirtualBox. This enables the Windows program to run inside macOS without replacing or rebooting the system. Rebooting means that if you use the dual boot system, you have to reboot the system in order to use the Windows. So the other options included the OS spoofing. It is a security evasion technique, not a method for running different operating systems. Dual boot setup lets user choose between macOS and Windows at startup, for example, boot camp, but you cannot run both simultaneously. And remote application streaming runs applications hosted elsewhere and requires network connectivity and does not install the Windows program locally. Question number 56. A network administrator is configuring a DHCP server for the office. The server should assign address automatically, but a few IP addresses must be kept free for devices such as printers and network equipment that use static addresses. Which feature of DHCP allows the admin to set aside these specific addresses so they are not handed out to clients? The options are A. DHCP exclusion, option B. DHCP reservation, option C. Static net, and option D. IP address pooling. And the correct option is option A. DHCP exclusion. Let's go through the explanation. So a DHCP exclusion allows the administrator to exclude specific IP addresses or ranges of IP addresses from the DHCP pool so that those addresses are not automatically assigned to the clients. These excluded IPs can then be manually configured on devices such as printers, switches, and routers. Other options included are DHCP reservation. So DHCP reservation assigns a specific IP address to a particular device based on MAC address, not for excluding addresses. Static NAT maps a private IP address to a public IP address for internet access, and it is unrelated to the DHCP. While IP address pooling refers to the entire range of addresses a DHCP server can assign, not the mechanism for keeping some addresses unused. Question number 57. A technician is troubleshooting weak Wi-Fi reception on a laptop. The issue is not with the network card itself, but rather with the placement of the built-in antennas that provide the strongest signal when the screen is open. Where is this wireless antenna most commonly installed? And the options are option A, mounted in the hard drive bay, option B, integrated into CPU socket, option C, beneath the keyboard, option D, next to the cooling fan, and option E, inside the display bezel. And the correct option is option E, inside the display bezel. So in most laptops, the Wi-Fi antennas are installed inside the display bezel around the screen. This placement provides the best signal strength and coverage since it positions the antenna higher and away from metal components that could interfere with radio signal. Other options are explained include the mounted in hard drive bay. So this is not related to wireless component. Integrated into CPU socket. CPU do not include antenna connections beneath the keyboard, possible for older model but results in weaker signal. And next to the cooling fan, which is not ideal due to heat and potential interference. Question number 58. A help desk technician receives a call from an employee who reports that all of their work files have suddenly been renamed with a strange new extension and cannot be opened. What should the technician do first in response to this issue? And the options are option A, disconnect the computer from the network. Option B, run an anti-malware scan immediately. Option C, rename the files back to their original extension. Option D, reboot the system to clear temporary processes. And option E, restore the system using a recovery partition. And the correct option is option A, disconnect the computer from the network. And the explanation for this correct as well as incorrect option is, so the symptoms, files renamed with strange extension and becoming inaccessible, strongly suggest a ransomware infection. So in ransomware attack, the attacker basically encrypts the files on the system, and their extensions are changed, and then user cannot open them without the encryption or decryption key. So the first action should be to isolate the system from the network to prevent the malware from spreading to other devices or encrypting shared files. So other options are explained. Run anti-malware scan immediately. It is important, but only after isolation to prevent further spread. So this step can be done after isolating the system from the network. Rename the files back. This option is ineffective. Ransomware encrypts the data, not just renames it. Reboot the system might trigger further encryption or loss of decryption keys. And restoring using recovery partition should be done after containment and investigation, not the first step. So this may be the last step in overall process, but not the first. Question number 59. A managed service provider needs to troubleshoot at Windows 11 workstation at a client's remote office. The technician must connect directly to the system's desktop and interact with it as if sitting in front of it. Which remote access technology is best suited for this task? And the options are option A, RDP, option B, VNC, option C, VPN, and option D, RMM. And the correct option is option A, RDP, that is Remote Desktop Protocol. So RDP allows a technician to remotely access and control the full desktop of a Windows system as if physically present at the machine. It's built into Windows 11 and is ideal for direct interactive troubleshooting sessions. Other options are explained. VNC provides remote desktop access but is platform independent and not as seamless on Windows as RDP. VPN creates a secure connection to the remote network, but it does not provide desktop control by itself. And RMM, that is remote monitoring and management, is used for monitoring and maintenance, not direct interactive desktop access. Question number 60. A company is moving its services to the cloud. The IT manager wants to ensure that resources can automatically scale up during periods of high demand and scale down when demand is low, so the organization only pays for what it uses. So which of the following best describes this cloud feature? And the options are option A, elasticity, option B, multi-tenancy, option C, availability, and option D, file synchronization. And the correct option is option A, elasticity. And the explanation is, so the elasticity in cloud computing refers to the ability to automatically scale resources up or down based on demand. This ensures optimal performance during high usage and cost savings during low activity because you pay only for what you use. Other options are multi-tenancy, is multiple customers share the same physical infrastructure securely. Availability refers to system uptime and reliability, not automatic scaling. And file synchronization keeps file consistent across devices and is unrelated to resource scaling. So that's all for this video. I hope it has been informative and of help to you in your certification of CompTIA A+. If you are planning for CompTIA A+ Core 2 as well, I have a complete course on the Core 1 as well as Core 2, and I am planning to upload the practice questions of Core 2 pretty soon. So please like, share the video and subscribe for upcoming content.